If we haven't met yet, I'm Sarah, an end-of-life planning advocate, normalizing conversations about end-of-life and estate planning before those conversations are necessary. When most people think of estate planning, they think of documents like a will. But one day after you die, your people will need so much more information than that to wrap up your life. Your people will have a virtually endless list of stuff to manage after your death. Things they'll have to locate, people they'll have to contact, things they'll need access to, accounts they'll have to cancel. Even if you've documented everything, it's a lot to keep track of. But if you haven't documented anything, yikes, that is making their already hard job nearly impossible. So start documenting your stuff. What is in this binder is personal to you, and it should include anything that you think your people will need to manage and wrap up your affairs after your death. So I don't have the fancy overhead setup that all the art YouTubers have, but I'll make do. So for years, my When I Die binder was just a bunch of loose leaf papers that I've cobbled together over the years. But I have recently created a printable workbook, and I am in the process of migrating all of my loose leaf papers into my printed binder, and I thought I'd give a flip through of what is in my binder before I start filling it up with all of the private information I don't want the world to see. So starting off with the legal documents, the estate documents, information on advance care directive, where it is, who has a copy, information about the document, who has a role. So have a worksheet for advance care directive, and then I have a comfort and care. So your advance care directive, this is what legal things I want done. I also did a comfort and care. So this is my personal preferences. So if I'm incapacitated, people know that I prefer silence and I like comfy clothes, and these are the comfort foods, and this is what I like and what I don't like. So this is sort of the personal care and feeding guide. Other legal documents, so will, where is it? Same document. Accounts that have named beneficiaries, so there's a single place where whatever bank accounts, investment accounts I have that have a named beneficiary, all that information is in a single location. Information about me and my family, so this is information that could be necessary for death certificates, for obituaries, so information about me, employers, addresses, information on spouses and former spouses, information on your parents. A lot of people don't realize that information about your parents, their dates of birth and places of birth might be necessary for your death certificate. So that's the kind of information that you likely know off the top of your head, but your people might not know that your mother was born in this place on this date. Information on children, grandchildren, siblings, any other family that might play a role in your estate or that you would want contacted. Biographical documents. So this is where all of these documents can be located if you want to keep your birth certificate or your passport in a secure location, like a home safe or a safe deposit box. This is a location where your people will know where to look to find all of those various documents. So personal documents, family documents, marriage certificates, death certificates of spouses, financial documents like bank statements, credit reports, professional documents, education records, and then whatever other documents. Next section is people and contacts. A lot of this information might already be in a phone address book. So this is either a place where you can document where that information can be located, or the information can be documented here as well. So your professional advisors, your attorney, your estate attorneys, your accountant, medical contacts, estate contacts. So the person who's your executor, the person that is a successor trustee in your trust, beneficiaries, and then just personal contacts and do not contact. If there's any people that you do not want to have contacted after your death, you can have that documented. Financial accounts and money. So where are your bank accounts? Are there debit cards? How do you get your account statements? Do you get paper copies or do you get them emailed? Do you access them online? Do you have online access? any items that are auto-billed or auto-deposited into this account. So you have bank accounts, investment accounts, retirement accounts, cash transfer apps. Do you have Venmo? Do you have PayPal accounts? Where do you keep your emergency cash? Digital wallets, Apple Pay, Google Pay, and credit cards. What are your credit card numbers? Other card holders? Do you have online access? Items that are auto-billed to the account. And then debts and loans. Who do you owe money to? Your debts do not go away when you die, so someone's going to have to track down your mortgage, your student loans, your car loans. And this is as much for your benefit while you're alive as it is for your people, but recurring transactions and bill payments. So all of the stuff that you have auto-billed to either credit cards or directly to a bank account, it's really easy for even us while we're alive to lose track of where all of these things are charged to. So rent, mortgage, cell phone, utilities, streaming services, subscriptions, memberships, professional services, and then recurring deposits, salaries. So this, again, will be beneficial both for your people later, but it's also beneficial for you. Do you remember what all your streaming services are? Do you remember what you're paying? Funerals and memorial events. Have you made pre-made plans? What do you want your funeral or your memorial events to look like? Just some more information about potentially what you want your funeral to look like. Body disposition. Do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be autopsied? Do you want to be embalmed? People are going to have to answer all of these questions, and it's not fun to sit around on a Sunday afternoon and write about and to consider if you want to be embalmed or if you want to be autopsied. But somebody at some point is going to have to ask those questions. Either you answer them now, or your people in the midst of their grief after your death are going to have to sit down and figure out, should they be buried? Should they be cremated? So it's beneficial to them to have an idea of what your thinking is, even if you only know what you definitely don't want. Maybe you don't know what you want your funeral to look like, but maybe you know you really don't want it to be a formal event at a church. Well, that's something. That gives your people something to go on. Obituaries and social media memorials. Do you want a printed obituary? Do you want a photo? Do you want your cause of death included in your obituary? Markers and physical memorials. Do you want a headstone? Do you want other physical markers? Do you want a memorial park bench, or do you want a memorial tree? How do you want your friends and family to spend the anniversary of your death or other significant milestones? Information on all of your insurance policies. What's the policy number? Where's the location of the policy documents? And this is a big one that a lot of people aren't thinking about, is your digital life. There's so much of our lives are digital, and this is filled with information that you just know about your situation in your life. You just know these are your passwords. This is stuff you know about your life that other people will need to know, but they don't know. So if you have kind of default usernames or passwords, answers to frequently used secret questions, your email addresses and passwords, do you have websites and domains? If so, what are your hosting companies? Password keeper or logs. A lot of us have online password keepers, so that you can include here of what the app you uses and what the passwords are, and or document your passwords, important passwords here. Your devices. Where are your phones? Where are your computers? Where are your iPads? Where are your thumb drives? Where are your external hard drives? Where do you have backups for all of your technology? Social media accounts. What do you want? Where do you have your social media accounts that you're active on? What are your passwords, and what do you want done with those social media accounts? Or if you think people will want access to your Instagram photos, and then you make sure they have a password so somebody's going to be able to download all of those photos. Websites that you use to store information, whether you use Notion or Evernote or Dropbox or iCloud or Google Drive, where is your stuff that your people might want to be able to access? And then legacy account information, Apple, Facebook, and Google all allow you to set up a person to be your legacy contact to access those accounts and to manage your account after your death, so you can document who you've set up as a legacy contact for either your Apple account, your Facebook account, or your Google account. Online accounts and services. Somebody someday is going to have to go in and access these accounts and cancel those accounts. So your Google account, your Amazon, Netflix, Disney, PayPal, Venmo, a lot of this information is in this binder several times. You don't need to document your PayPal account in 5 locations, but I included it in multiple locations just to be sure that you think it through. And if having a PayPal line here makes you think of, oh yeah, and I also have some other online payment accounts, I should document that as well. A lot of this information is in this binder in multiple places as a trigger to see if this reminds you of something else that should be documented somewhere else. Cars and vehicles. So your ownership registration, your license plate, your DMV information, lease information if you have it, loan information if you have it, your insurance information. Again, insurance information is in here multiple places. It only needs to be documented once. A history of where can a service history or maintenance, where's your history of oil changes? Where can all of that be found? Your home and your storage unit information. So where do you live? Do you own? Do you rent? Who's the landlord? Where's the rental information? Where's the ownership information? Do you have a loan or a mortgage? Do you have insurance information about your property tax if you have it? And then information about your home. So this is either for somebody who will be taking over and managing your estate after you die, or in case of incapacitation, somebody might have to be able to access your home or help maintain your home if you are incapacitated in the hospital. Where are your garage door openers? Where are your keys? What are gate codes and hiding places or where's your safe? Information on a home alarm if you have it. Your internet, your Wi-Fi if you have smart home devices. What is your Alexa password? What is your Google Home device information? Home services. Again, this is a document that is as much for you to maintain your home as it is for anyone else who has to maintain your home. But what are your gas and electric companies? What is your home security or trash? When does your recycling come? If you have a house cleaner or a gardener, or if you have snow removal? What regular and recurring home services do you have? When do they come? How are they paid? All of that information. Storage units. Do you have storage units in your building or in your property? Do you have external storage units somewhere else? And then what is information on that storage unit? Do you have a safe deposit box? And then do you have other properties? Do you have a vacation home? Do you have rental properties? Your physical stuff. So this is not a legally binding document. So anything you document here is not legally binding, and any information on who you want to get what within your stuff should be in your will. But this is more of a worksheet to consider what you have and to consider where you want it to go so that it can be prepared and you can be ready when you go to your attorney to write your will. You will have thought through, do you already have a household inventory? Do you have collections that you either want to be maintained or that you don't mind if it's sold? Do you have any information on valuable items? Again, this is not legally binding, but it's a single place for you to consider where your valuables are, what the value of them are, where ownership documents, appraisal, life insurance information is maintained. Sentimental items. So this is an item that a lot of people don't consider, that often people are more attached to sentimental items, or the sentimental items are more important than the valuable items because you only get one of these. So what are your sentimental items or your heirloom? Who do you want to get it? Why is it important that that person gets this item? Where can a history or a lore, the family lore of this item, where can that be located? Again, this is not legally binding. All of this information should be in a will if you want to ensure that that item gets to that person. But it's a single place to document what your sentimental items are or what your family heirlooms are where information about it can be found and why it's important that that item goes to that person. Business and side hustle information. If you have a side hustle, if you have a sole proprietorship, what is information about that business? Where's the business documentation? What is where are the social media accounts for that item? Bank accounts for your business. If you have information on either a succession plan or information, where is information about how the business should either be maintained or wrapped up? This is sort of other legal stuff. So are you a co-signer on a loan? Or are you the trustee of a trust other than your living trust, which would have been documented in the legal documents section? Money that is owed to you, where is that documented? Money that you owe other people informally, where is that? Your property that has been loaned to others, where is that, so that that item can be returned to your estate, or items that you have borrowed that need to be returned to the true owner of that item. All of that is documented here. And then life reviews and personal remembrances. If you have a document where you've documented your personal stories, where can that be found? And then I also, in the full binder, in the principal, have a list of life review prompts. If you want to do this, if you want to document information about your life, but you're not sure where to start, I have a list of prompts. So within this principle, in the principle are other sections on documenting information about your living trust, about documenting information about your kids. I don't have kids. I don't have pets. So none of that information is in my binder, and this is going to be my binder. So they aren't included here, but if that information should be documented if that applies to you. So I also have a second binder. This is not technically part of the When I Die binder, because this is something that I will use during my life, but in my brain, these two go together because they're all stuff that I need to know or others need to know about my life. This is a personal health file. So my doctors have my full medical file, but I found myself, whenever I would go to a new doctor and you have to fill out that intake form, I would forget the name of that specialist that I visited that one day or the exact appointment history dates. So based on an article that I read, and I believe it was Self Magazine, I'll find a link and include it in the notes below, they recommended creating a personal health file, which I did and I have loved, and I'm, again, just formalizing this loose leaf papers, but I'm formalizing that a little bit of information about me, information about health history and family history that I can now, this is in a separate binder, so next time I go to a doctor, I can just bring this binder, and then when I have to fill out that little intake form and I have to give my family history of what medical conditions did my grandmother have, I can have all of that documented here, and I don't have to recreate that list every time. Medication history and conditions of current diagnosis, past diagnosis, healthcare providers, and just have a short summary of primary care doctors, specialists, eye doctors, mental health professionals, and all that can be in a single place. Something I always need because time is weird, appointment history. When were my appointments? What was the purpose? What was the outcomes? Follow-up questions. I have a separate tab for vaccinations and test results, since all those are printed documents that I get from my doctor. So that has a tab that will go here. And then I will also include a copy of my personal advanced care directive here as well. My doctors have all of that in their records as well, but some of these documents, it's good to keep together, and it's good to have them easily accessible every time you go to the doctor. So that's in a separate binder. And I consider that to be part of my When I Die binder setup, even though this is really more for me, but in my life, it just makes sense to have it all fit together and keep these together as a lot of information about me that somebody, either me or somebody else, might need to know at some point. So that is what is in my binder, will be in my binder when I finish the update, so I can make something that's a little prettier than my random sheets that I've been keeping for years. So That's a lot. I know that's a lot of information in my binder. My biggest piece of advice when putting this all together, you don't have to do it all at once. It can be overwhelming and it can be very easy to get burnt out. Documenting something is better than documenting nothing. If the only thing you write down is your attorney's name and where you bank, that's something, and something is better than nothing. So get a binder, set up the tabs, and start filling out information as it comes up or as it's needed. Your book or your binder can look like anything you want it to. You can start with blank notebook pages. That's what I had for years. Or if you want the printable version I made and showed in this video, a link to the printable will be in the description. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and also consider hitting the subscribe button for regular end-of-life and estate planning information.